Boy Scouts will come around and pick those up, and they'll get to the food bank in time because they won't use them if it's within so many days. You're praying that they just get them there. And so instead of doing that from now on, not that it's not good, give to the Boy Scouts when they come around for the food drive. But keep part of them back, and you can get another year, or 2 years, or 3 years out of that same food. Legally, you get 1 year. I do 2 or 3. So what I do with these, and this is 16 regular tomatoes. These are actually the fresh ones. So that's just your regular.
Can you
actually grind them down. I throw them into soups whole like this. I use them.
And it bounces back
put
to
them in a
like
little
real tomatoes?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Put them in a little bit of oil. Make sun-dried tomatoes. You don't need to pay $2 million to have sun-dried
So how do you do the
tomatoes.
sun-dried tomatoes?
Just EVOO or whatever you like to use. Extra virgin olive oil.
Oh,
Whatever
okay.
you like to use. It depends on what I'm making, what kind of oil I want to use.
So you
So
just
if
slice
it's-
up tomatoes like out of your garden and put them in
I
your
just dice them. I
refrigerator?
have like one of those snapper things that was on an infomercial.
Mhm.
It has like the grid in there. I just go snap, snap, dump on my
Peel and
tray.
all? Or do you
I actually peel and all.
really?
And then what I do is I grind this down and I make my own spaghetti sauce. So I use a 1/4 cup to about 3/4 cup of boiling water.
Paste or something.
Correct. Well, it actually will make full sauce. You can do paste if you use less water on the rehydration. But that's how I do all of our spaghetti sauce. For pizza, I want it to be a little bit more tomatoey, so I don't put anything else with it other than seasoning. For spaghetti sauce, I do a tiny, tiny bit of cheese, like powder. And again, on that, I go commercial on that because it's not. Cheese is a hard thing as well because you've got the fatty issues to deal with as far as like making it safe. So I buy those commercially. Use a little bit, tiny bit of cheese powder, and then add all the seasonings I want just to make it a little bit more creamy. And again, you control how thick or how thin you want it to be based upon how much boiling water you add to it.
So how good, if you've already said this, I'm sorry. If you
No, it's
repeat
okay.
yourself. So with the tomatoes in there, how long were they good in that jar right there?
This
for?
environment, I try to do less than a year.
Less than, okay.
Right. So I'm only using when I rotate all the time when I know I'm going to use. If I look at it and I go, ooh, that's been in there for a while, and again, if you're anal retentive, which sometimes I can be, I may date when I'm doing this.
Smart.
And then, or what I usually do is when I get something new, I either try to use, what's in here before I do some new stuff, or if I do some new stuff, I always want my newest stuff in here, dumped into a Mylar bag and sealed. And I do everything in quarts or in cups. Is how I do everything. I either do 1 cup or a full quart of something.
Do you ever
So-
dehydrate like bell peppers?
Yes, I do all the time. They're
And
beautiful.
And do they come back to, how do you do?
Mostly. And again, it's not going to look exactly perfect the way it was before. Usable enough. There's red, yellow, and orange bell peppers right there.
Wow.
So that's a ton. This
You
is a
just
lot
soak
of
them in
peppers.
water to bring them back?
And you just chop them with your little chopper so they're all uniform.
Actually, I just dice my little dicer exactly because I like everything to be so.
Uniform? Well,
Yep.
it's good
Here's a
for
quart
the-
of apples. But you see where I did down to the smaller amount that I knew that we would eat as a family. But I like to do everything in quarts, so that way when I empty this quart out and I know it's done, I now go. And again,
By
if
the
you're
way, it's
comfortable,
36 cents for each big bag.
thank you. Okay, I knew there was a calculation there. I just hadn't done it, so I did it at one point, but I didn't bring the paper. So there you go. That's why I have someone in the audience with me. So good. Yes.
So how do you grind down those tomatoes?
I put them in my wheat grinder, and then I just throw
And
a
it's
cup of
dry enough
rice
for that?
after. The other choice is you can get coffee grinders. They're really cheap. I have one I do for spices, one I do for tomatoes usually. Kind of just have like 4 of them that I use for little things. If I want a quickie, just blow it out. Coffee grinder will grind it in like just a couple minutes. So, and again, on that, the measurement that I use is 1/4 cup of the tomato powder to 3/4 cup.
Can you do it in your blender? If you have like a Vitamix or something?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, you can even pound it on the counter. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. My kids love that. So yeah, okay, on blanching, there's a lot of different fruits and vegetables that you need to prepare ahead of time. Why you want to get this book is this tells you everything to do for each fruit and vegetable that you're going to do. Love, love, love it. Again, if you don't want to spend any money when you leave this class, that is wonderful. Spend $20 and buy this book. It's just amazing. The stuff you will learn is amazing. So, and this will answer a lot of the questions that you had on temperatures or things, and again, you can replace that dehydrator, please do, and that's, and it's on the back page. Yeah, it's on the back page. It's the very first one. And it's $20, and it's the best. So, it's on the order. Sherry, you're so good. Okay. I'm going to call you the Great Wizard of Oz. Okay, if you don't mind, just let me just go ahead and do about blanching. What blanching is it's going to soften up any fruits that are hard. You have pears. the skins are really, really hard. What you want to do in order to prepare that is to find some way to soften that the outer peel. So what you're going to do is you're going to boil a thing of water on your I guess a pot of water. You don't have to get a thing of water, pot of water. And then I use a colander that's metal. I put a couple pears on there. I hold it in that boiling water for about 30 seconds, pull it out, and then I just slice them. Apples I don't blanch. Peaches, for instance, are a good thing to blanch. So in here it kind of has the list of what you want to blanch. You can go online and look that up. You can just say, dehydrate peaches, blanch or no blanch, and it'll just tell you right away whether or not you need to. So but that's one of the things you want to watch for, because if you get something out and you're going, and you're going, oh, I almost took my tooth off, it probably needs to have been blanched. So there are a few things. Now there's one trick about blueberries I'll share, because it's the other one, like apricots, that people always do, and they come to me like, no, tell me to do blueberries, that was terrible. You have to poke a hole in every blueberry. So you need every single blueberry. So it's a little time consuming, but I pay my kids per toothpick that they fill up with blueberries. They get so excited, like, ooh, it's like string of beads. Or sometimes we actually do that. We'll just take a needle, thread, run it through, just pull it out the back ends. It'll just put a hole in all of them, throw them in, and then they'll actually deflate. If you don't, they'll stay whole and just look shriveled, and then they're likely to get moldy or gross. So like where I want to use those in a muffin mix, out of that Mix-A-Meal book, where I can get that muffin and bread base mix, I just want to throw my blueberries in there, just like the store version. I just throw them all in there, add this water and stuff to it, and then let it cook, and usually bounce back. But if you want them juicy, rehydrate them first. And again, inside your packet, a few pages in, you'll see a little guide that tells you how to rehydrate.
Can you do pumpkin? Do you do pumpkin puree?
Absolutely.
Or do
Absolutely.
you just chunk it up?
Nope, I do pumpkin puree. I turn it into what's called pumpkin bark. There's a guy named
Well, and then you grind it up just like the tomatoes are doing.
you can either grind it up into a powder if you want to do it, or you can just leave it in the chunk. It'll just rehydrate back into puree. It's wonderful. So you do that like fruit leather. So earlier we had the question, and we'll get back to yours.
But then
On
you
the
don't
fruit
need-
leather,
yeah.
where you said it was having trouble, it wouldn't come off. Anytime something's going to stick, strawberries, pineapple, anything that might adhere to my plastic sheets, it looks like kind of like plastic canvas is what that looks like. A little bit of cooking spray. Now I like to use a mister with maybe some flaxseed oil, whatever you like to do. I'm trying to transition everything over to healthier in my house, so that way we don't, so that way hopefully we'll live a little bit longer. And so definitely, but pan cooking spray, you can just right across there. So on your fruit roll-ups, I just do a little bit on there, and then they just roll right up. But on those, you really want to watch. There's only a handful of things. Like most things, how I said, like apples, you go throw them in, you set it, you walk away, you go to sleep, your mind's not even thinking about it. Some other things, you wake up in the morning. I don't really look at things for a specific amount of time, because I really feel like the guides are there if you're trying to be accurate. I'm not, because you can't over dry a food. Now you can dry beef jerky longer and make it more brittle, so you might want to watch that if you like it chewier than some of your foods that you might want, like on bananas. Half of our family likes them really chewy, so I pull the first 2 trays out when I do bananas the next morning. And they're still a little bit bendy. And then the other 2 or 4 trays, whatever, I leave in there for another 24 hours, whatever. And sometimes I'll walk away and forget about them. They'll be in there 36, 48 hours. It's all good.
What
It's
about,
not going to hurt them.
I tried dehydrating gravy.
Interesting. Did it turn into a fruit leather for you or not?
Yes, it was a fruit leather type
Okay.
consistency, and I was a
That's
little bit
exactly-
worried about it, because I wanted it to be dry and crunchy.
You need to let it go for longer. It
Well,
depends
that's
on
what I
you
did,
put
I
in
ended up
there.
doing it for like 3 days.
Okay, and it still never went to.
No, it did.
Okay, good. Okay, not a problem. Yeah, it's just length of time.
You just had to crumble it to
Yeah,
put it
just
in.
length of time. Yes.
Does dehydrating lose any vitamins? In other words, do
Okay,
you need to
good,
take
good.
like
Okay.
vitamin D or E?
There's some
or
choices on
something?
that, because they will say, and Mary, this little gal on Mary Bell's stuff, she will tell you that you can cook it and you want to get rid of the enzymes and will have most of the vitamins. I'm going to tell you now, I'm skeptical. So what I've been doing is, since there's such a movement for living foods and raw foods and etc., most of my fruits and vegetables, not meats, I just don't do meat under 145, I just do it 145. These actually dehydrate on 118 or less, and not below 110. So usually I try to hit 118 pretty accurately, and I just let those go longer. So on those I'll go 18 hours instead of 12. for instance, because I want those to go
Instead of
ahead, I
still
want the
broth.
enzymes to still exactly be developed, the sugars to be developed, and then go ahead